Here's more wrestling news for February 10th, 2023, and we're starting off today with CM Punk, who continues to be the only person suspended from AEW over what happened at All Out. It's pretty safe to say that the AEW locker room is pretty anti-Punk, with top talent saying they'll refuse to work with him if Punk is brought back, but is a return even possible? On Wrestling Observer Radio, an update was given on Punk's injury, and it was said that he will be available if AEW wishes to use him in a couple of months. Dave Meltzer said that while AEW is lacking a top babyface right now, the answer should not be Punk, who is not only a rather toxic individual, but at 44 years old, is hardly someone that AEW can mold into being the future face of the company. It would take both Tony Khan being willing to bring Punk back and Punk being willing to return for him to appear on AEW TV again, and it was only a few months ago that it was reported that he was seeking a buyout of his contract. CM Punk was once the most popular star in AEW, but now many fans want nothing to do with him. And do you think he should be brought back by AEW? Let us know in the comments. If AEW is done with CM Punk, then WWE will likely be the only promotion willing to pay his high asking price, but that too comes with problems. Punk infamously walked out of WWE in 2014, and last month, Seth Rollins called Punk a cancer, saying that the former AEW World Champion should stay away from the promotion. Speaking to Fox Sports Radio this week, Rollins was asked about his harsh words for Punk and admitted that it pains him to say such things about someone he once admired. Here's the thing that I will say one thing about Punk and end it on a positive note with him. That guy has given my career so much that it pains me to have to say bad things about him, because he helped me out, he really did. He's been a good guy for me for a lot of my career, but for whatever reason, the past maybe 6-7 years, he's in a different headspace and we're not on the same page. And to see kind of what he's done and taken, it's always about him. I'm not a fan, I'm just not a fan. There's a place for him, man. He's got a lot to give. I just wish his head was in a different spot. It was during a CM Punk WWE title defense at Survivor Series 2012 that Rollins made his main roster debut as part of the Shield, but Seth clearly feels that the man he worked with on that night is much different to the individual we see today. More from AEW, and Eddie Kingston is one of the violent men in the promotion today, and the deathmatch veteran has certainly earned the nickname the Mad King. When not tearing it up in the ring, Kingston can be heard cussing out members of the AEW roster, both faces and heels, but despite what many fans may think, he does have a softer side. Speaking to WTF with Mark Marone, Kingston said that when he competes on the independents, he often insists that the promoters keep half of his pay and donate it to a local charity. Kingston added that he'll ask promoters not to make a big deal about his generous donation, as he doesn't want people to think that his generosity is just for publicity, but many promoters still announce his act of kindness anyway. Kingston added that he still does independence as he wants to give back to wrestling, adding that he would have went nuts years ago if not for the indies. Eddie Kingston may portray a hard character on TV, but he certainly knows how to give back, and it goes to show that there's more to the Mad King than fans may think when they see him on Dynamite. While Eddie Kingston may be a regular on TV, it's been months since fans caught a glimpse of Thunder Rosa, who has been out with an injury. This injury even caused Rosa to relinquish the AEW Women's World title last year, but the former champion is getting close to a return. PW Insider has learned that Rosa was present backstage at the February 8th edition of AEW Dynamite, which took place in El Paso, not too far from Rosa's adopted hometown of San Antonio, Texas. Last month, Thunder Rosa told Busted Open Radio that she was going to be back on the road pretty soon, and the fact that she was backstage this week is a great sign for her recovery. It had been rumored that Rosa has been exaggerating her injury and that AEW sent her away because of reported backstage heat, but Rosa has always refuted these claims. The women's division in AEW is quite different from the one Rosa left last year, thanks in no small part to the debut of Saraya, but who do you want to see Thunder Rosa feud with when she's back? Let us know in the comments. In late 2022, JBL returned to WWE TV as the manager of Baron Corbin, something the Texan had been openly pining for years. Unfortunately, the pairing of the two just didn't seem to work, and on this week's Raw, JBL ended his ties with the Lone Wolf. Since then, fans have wondered what's next, and it appears that JBL's departure from Corbin is also a departure from TV. PW Insider reports that JBL is not currently scheduled for any more Raw or WWE tapings going forward, and that his time on screen is legitimately finished. Now Corbin is on his own again and is hoping to return to his broke ways, but who knows when we'll see John Bradshaw Layfield on WWE TV again. It was over 25 years ago that WWE debuted the character of Kane, the younger brother of The Undertaker, who would prove to be an ally and foe of the dead man throughout his career. When the two were on the same page, the Brothers of Destruction were virtually unstoppable, but there was almost a third member of this deeply disturbing family. Sitting down with Chris Van Vliet of Insight this week, former WWE superstar Matt Morgan spoke about plans for him to become Abel, the third member of the Brothers of Destruction, after he was returned to OVW in 2005. Johnny Ace and Stephanie wanted me to wear a mask and work on my body language, right? And so I remember Jim Cornette just being like, What are you doing? He's like our top babyface champion. Why has he gotta wear this? This is stupid. Like, totally put me over. That never materialized for me, being brought up to the main roster as Abel. I think it would have been pretty cool though. I didn't like wearing the hood if I'm being honest, I hated it. Ultimately, Morgan did not become Abel, but the idea was tweaked in 2006, with Luke Gallows becoming Imposter Kane, culminating in a Kane vs. Kane match that the Imposter won at that year's Vengeance pay-per-view. Interestingly, WWE did introduce a half-sister of Kane and The Undertaker, Jezebel, in the Undertaker comic in the late 1990s, but do you think the Abel character could have worked, or was the idea always doomed to fail? Earlier this week, Jerry Lawler suffered a medical emergency that has left the King in a hospital bed ever since. According to a member of Jerry's family, the WWE Hall of Famer suffered an issue with his carotid artery that many took as a stroke, but there's now been some positive news on his condition. In a tweet from a representative for the King, it was noted that Jerry is now out of the ICU and is scheduled to return to his home in Florida later today. It was also said that Lawler will have limited speech and cognitive skills, but with in-home rehabilitation, doctors are hopeful that he will make a full recovery. Lawler recently competed in a match, making it 53 consecutive years that he's been wrestling, but right now his focus is on making a full recovery, and we're wishing the King the best in that battle. During this week's Dynamite, Chris Jericho ambushed Ricky Starks and disguised himself as a masked fan to get close to the young star. Jericho's disguise clearly fooled those who were in the crowd with him, and the former AEW World Champion went to great lengths to keep up the ruse. On Jericho, Twitter explained that he sat in his seat in the crowd for 15 minutes before Dynamite began airing and stayed there throughout the show until his spot. It would have been suspicious had AEW security brought a masked fan in moments before Starks was on the show, and fans in the arena would have likely figured out that this wasn't a fan at all. This is hardly the first time Jericho has disguised himself to attack a wrestler, but in addition to his attack, Y2J had a great seat to watch some AEW action this week. And we're ending today with AEW, as we mentioned earlier that Thunder Rosa was backstage at this week's Dynamite, but she wasn't the only notable spotting backstage. On Twitter, Cinta de Oro Jr., better known to WWE fans as Sin Cara, showed some photos from behind the scenes at Dynamite, including pics with Penta El Cerro, Claudio Castagnoli, and Vicky Guerrero. WWE once had big plans for the Sin Cara character, who they initially planned on being the next Rey Mysterio, but a series of injuries and attitude problems eventually led to those plans being scrapped. Sin Cara left WWE in 2019 as he felt underappreciated. And would you like to see the former NXT Tag Team Champion in AEW? Share your views in the comments.